Take it back.
Julie, because I don't think they were open when I went around.
You can have that, Julie.
I got one.
Thank you.
Do we know if Hannah's gonna be here?
She said last
She
night she
should be
said she
here.
was.
I saw her, I saw, saw her across the way.
Yeah, I saw her at dinner last night at Time Travelers and she said, see you in the morning.
Okay.
So
Hi, Bennett. Taylor here.
Hey, I can go ahead and start the meeting. Have we heard from Hannah?
We were just talking about that. She said she was going to be here, so she might just be running a little late.
Okay. All right, well,
We're on Nebraska time, so we're late probably, huh?
yeah, it's 11 o'clock here. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my agenda because I don't have it with me yet. Here we go. Oh, good, perfect.
Double it up, I need it. It's a Monday.
Good morning, and we are ready to start?
Yep.
All right, I will call the meeting to order. It's 9:02 a.m. on June 5th. And we have Julie Cooper, Julie Colton, Hannah Smith, Connie Redmond, Lonzo Tackett, and Juan. What's your last name? Luna, the moon, and Bennett Johnson on Skype. Do we have any public comment? Nope. Nope. All right, and were you guys able to review minutes from last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes as written.
I second that.
All right,
Who did a second? Julie Cooper? Okay.
all in favor?
I,
Oh. First, do you have it printed?
pardon?
All right, so Bennett, you're up for newspaper articles and e-newsletters.
Yeah, so.
Want to bundle those?
Yeah, yes, I will. So we got, apparently our article about the murals was in the paper. And they also picked it up as a statewide article. So they put it on their statewide social media or their statewide newspaper bulletin, electronic newspaper bulletin. So we got a lot more coverage than we had originally thought we would. And so this month, in June, I'll be writing something that will highlight the 4th of July parade and the events coming up. So that's my plan. And those are for both the newspaper article and the e-newsletter.
Great. And I'll piggyback on that for the social media post. We kind of go hand in hand together. I'll be making a post to about volunteers with the volunteer link. I think that's nice to post probably at least once a month. And that's kind of it for social media. Projects. Discuss projects, strategic plan update. Bennett, do you want to start this or? It's number 7.
Yes, so the intent of this was to take a look at the strategic plan and go through it and make sure there was nothing in there that we needed to update. So we would go through it section by section, and then consider whether or not we're on the right track with the future goals. And then do any updates to it and then rename it whatever year we wanted to rename it. So like 2023 to 2024 or 2023 to 2025. So I'm not in the room and I will be next month. So I would suggest that we postpone this
Okay.
until I'm able to actually physically be there. Is that okay with you guys?
Sounds good.
Yes.
So we'll
That's
keep this
fine.
on the agenda for next month then?
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be wonderful,
Please,
Taylor.
All right, so we will move on. Number 8. So the OMS revitalization grant update. I can do this because it was me who applied, so we did not get it. And bummer. We went for some other grants that we didn't get either, but we're gonna move forward with some city grants. And yeah,
Can you
they've-
explain a little bit about the city grant, what that is?
so it's the urban
renewal.
renewal, the small and large.
Okay,
Um,
and is there any obligation on our part if we get it? I mean, did you have to say what it would be used for?
yeah, I think there's a part that you explain your project details and
Yeah, there's no,
it's a little less intensive than the state ones, but
okay, the
right.
obligation on, yeah. So the DEC would be, you're asking if the DEC needs to help submit, put together the application?
Oh, because this
that
is
right?
Hannah's, not the, okay, this is you and your husband put that in. Applied for the grant, not DEC.
for the OMS grant,
Oh, no, for the urban renewal.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
don't need
Yep,
to know anything
Right,
more.
yeah, the DEC doesn't
Okay.
have to
Nope.
Okay.
participate.
Off the hook.
To refresh my memory, were we talking about if you didn't get it, then we were gonna circle back and see if we're gonna keep applying for this type of
Mhm.
thing again, because it's been a long time since we've actually gotten this, and is it worth it to actually
Mhm.
keep doing that? Is that right, Bennett?
Yeah, so that kind of
Yes,
goes into
and-
number 9.
Right, it's
is
on the agenda.
discussing our
Lonzo.
involvement.
Okay.
Yeah, so perfect timing. We can, grant update, didn't get it. Not much else we need to talk about, bummer, but
Okay.
they just said they needed more information on the bids and they didn't feel like we were, they wanted more numbers from people to make sure that we're really
I know.
gonna do the job. And it's like,
Mm.
I mean, whatever.
I
Okay.
Yeah.
What can you do?
They want a lot
But
of-
other than that, they said it was a great, great this and that, but we just maybe needed more money, more numbers to see you were more, that you were really gonna do the project, which
Yeah.
I get. When you're giving out money, you want to make sure that it gets done.
Yeah,
But-
it's funny that, the projects that need the help most often can't do the project without
Sure.
the grant
Right.
thing. And so they don't have all the number, it's
Yeah.
kind
Just
of
kind
chicken
of
before
a,
the egg or whatever.
Yep.
kind of an FYI, the chamber put in for a grant from Mount Hood Territories. If we, for that space for the chamber to build it out, so it's a joint visitor center with the Forest Service.
Mhm.
And I got a call on Friday and they don't think we can do it with the amount of money we're asking for. And I guess, I don't know how much building out a space cost, I'm probably gonna get more phone calls today, but it's a tough field out there.
Mhm.
You gotta know what you're saying.
Yeah, and we will, we city staff can try to help as much as possible in terms of, giving estimates on like permit fees
Mhm.
for,
Didn't even think about that.
right, yeah. So, and it just depends on like the scope of the work. Are you gonna have to pay SDCs, stuff like that?
Hmm.
It would be helpful, maybe you already did this. I admit I haven't even looked at this packet. It would maybe be helpful for us to have like keep on hand the correspondence from OMS,
Mm.
kind of whatever they said about like,
Sure.
oh, we maybe could have scored it higher if
Mhm.
this and this were the case.
Hmm.
Just in case we do pursue future grants, it
Yeah.
might be nice to just look at why
Totally.
they didn't award it in the
Yeah.
past, you know?
And they're very willing to that, and the simple email I have. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
absolutely
Okay,
forward that to you.
cool.
So that goes into our involvement in the Main Street program. And where we lie with that. And maybe we can wait till Bennett gets back. Cause I think she has a lot of knowledge on this, unless somebody else has any input.
So sorry.
It's okay. We're gonna
My
go to
husband-
9.
My
just
husband
our-
is in Oregon right now, and so he's calling me like every 3 minutes to ask me what he's supposed to do. So.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so here's the thing, is that we have gone back and forth on this, whether or not it's to our best advantage to be part of the Main Street program. There are certain requirements that the Main Street program has at certain levels. One of the things that we have bumped into, well, let me start a little bit further back, and that is we are part of the Main Street program for a while now. And so the question is whether or not, I think it lapses in September or October, someplace in that neighborhood. The question that we had was, do we want to have a conversation with the city council about this in a work session in order to examine it? Should we do that now, or should we postpone it until later? My thought is that we should probably start trying to get on their agenda now, because it takes a while to get on their agenda. And then secondly, there's all kinds of things that we might want to change if we decide not to go with Main Street. So Main Street, in order to be at the level that we are right now, requires a full-time dedicated staff person, which we haven't had since I've been on this commission. And so we're not actually 100% in compliance anyway. The other really big thing is that we're very limited in what we are in the area that we are in charge of promoting. And so right now it's just the downtown core, and I'm sure all of you have seen that map. And that's really, Broadway and Main, and it goes out to the highway and across the street on the highway, but it doesn't go up to Wade Creek, doesn't go to the library. It doesn't, so any events that are in that park that's up there, all those kinds of things, they're not really in our wheelhouse. So I look at the Downtown Estacada Commission as a marketing and economic development tool. And so when we're limiting ourselves to such a small area, then I question whether or not we would get more bang for our buck if we were an economic development commission and we did projects much like that the parks do and other things where the city gives them money and they execute projects. So the question is do we don't have to make any decision. The decision that we would make today is to request the city council to engage with us in a work session to discuss this. So that's all I have to say.
And I guess Jerry or Taylor, what kind of a time frame do we need to request to be a meeting with you guys? Do we need a month out or what?
It just depends on, they usually have a good idea. We always have a good idea of what's on the next council agenda, and usually the 1-2 meetings out. So if those both happen to be really full agendas, then we might look at
Well,
pushing it.
I would like to see this not be an agenda item on at a council meeting. I would like to see this be a joint workshop
Okay.
on a separate day. Because there's a lot of information that's that we're gonna ask. There's a lot of information that you're gonna ask. And I don't think that it being an agenda item is gonna give it enough time or, to get that information out. So I think this should be scheduled as a joint workshop between
That-
the.
That's what we're
downtown
asking
Estacada.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were asking for.
Yeah,
It's just
'cause
that last
we had
time
one
we-
of those scheduled before.
Yeah, and last time it took like 3 months to get that organized. And so that's why I'm thinking that we probably want to start now, that discussion now, instead of waiting
Yeah,
until.
so
fall.
maybe the fall.
Well,
Because,
I would like to see this
September,
happen. I
August.
personally would like to see this happen before, plenty of time before that September,
okay,
September date. So that we can have it, we can have a definitive answer when that comes around. So
okay. Is that when we need to know September? For Main Street, do you know, or is it January?
I can't remember.
Okay,
I
I'll
feel like
look it up.
January.
For
was
some reason, I
when-
thought it
I
was-
don't remember either, but I think we would want to know, like, I think January is when we would submit the renewal of
Mm.
our registration or membership
Yes,
or whatever.
that's it.
But I might be misremembering. But yeah, we would want to, for the city, we would want to know. I mean, I feel like this conversation has been a little overdue for a while. Just conversations I've had with some counselors, some of you, some other staff. It sounds like there's been discussion of like, do we really want to be in Main Street? Are we
Mhm.
getting everything out of it that we could? Do we want to stay in it? Or, what are the benefits of leaving? Would the city be better off if the DEC were more like a citywide economic development kind of group?
Mhm.
Yeah, all of those questions, and none of them have been.
Answered. Yeah.
and
discussed.
then also the question of, would all of you want to be, I mean, you guys joined this committee, because it's a downtown Estacada or, downtown Estacada commission. If it became, because all of you have, the majority of you have businesses in downtown Estacada. So if this became an economic development committee, would this be something that you'd want to continue to be a part of? So.
And yeah, I guess another piece of that question, or like important context for answering that question, is just looking at what all does economic development encompass, and are those things, what initiatives would an economic development commission be tasked with working on, right? So making sure that, and I actually think the council might be getting kind of like an ECDev 101 type workshop at some point. I don't think we have that
Mm.
put together quite yet, but maybe we could make that also a joint, just it's good for both the DEC and the council to be brushed up on those kind of principles.
Mhm.
One of the big questions I have, if we do become an economic, whatever, what happens with the events? What group would take that over? Would it be a subgroup of that?
I think, Connie, just like when we had done the planning, I mean, we already are an economic development group.
Yeah.
And so when we did our strategic plan the first time, we decided that events would be, we're required to do 2 events anyway, or the
Right.
4th of July parade and one other free event. But that could be as watered down or as big as we wanted it to be. The strategic plan that we put together, we decided that events were one of the categories or one of the things that we were going to do in order to promote economic development
Okay,
of the downtown. So assuming that, really very little actually needs to change if we decided that we wanted to exit the Main Street program. We could refine the strategic plan that we already have so that it more matches the broader scope. And certainly if we decide that events are something that we want to continue, then, and I'm sure we would, but that would be one of the things in our strategic plan for the Economic Development Commission, or whatever you want to call it.
There might also be, I'm just throwing this out to get it on everyone's radar. There might also be some opportunity pending the council discussion with the council. At the goal setting in January this year, there was a lot of discussion about wanting to figure out a tourism strategy, tourism promotion. Both that and like business recruitment and business retention, like job development, job creation. So those are all things that maybe whatever that discussion looks like with the council, those are goals that the council set. It might be something worth talking about. Is there a specific role for this commission to play in those kind of efforts?
The Main Street program has a major emphasis on historic preservation and downtown revitalization. And both of those things are required in the Main Street program, but are maybe not necessarily what we think is the most bang for your buck type of strategy. So if we were to exit the Main Street program, we could retain, like I was saying, retain most of the plan and launch from there, or we could throw the whole thing up in the air and start all over again in terms of what we thought. And back to what Taylor was saying is that, there's really a much broader scope that the city council might ask us to look at and be advisory. And then, of course, not just to the question of whether or not everybody that's sitting here today would be interested in that, but also, do we have the right skills in place? Do we need to go out and seek some other folks that might be more interested in the broader economic development emphasis than just what we're doing right now?
That's a good point. And that doesn't have to mean anyone being kicked off this commission either necessarily.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
It would be, it's totally feasible for, especially if you're going to be updating the definition of this commission anyway, you can establish how many members. So if you wanted to bump it up to 9 members to make sure you're getting some kind of perspective or interest represented, that is obviously up to the council, but absolutely doable.
Or just leave it at 7 and take care of that through attrition. People leave.
So right now, our definition has economic development in it right now.
Yeah,
Doesn't it
the Main
technically?
Street
I
program
was trying to look it up.
charges its member organizations with the 4 kind of tenets of economic development. And I think that, the code definition for this commission charges you with carrying out the functions of, or the responsibilities of the Main Street program. And it might get into some specifics of that, but it's all
Yeah.
just copy pasted from the Main Street
Right.
website. But yes.
Okay. And I feel like just for a very broad question, what would it look like if we changed or took away, like, doing events? Does that not fall under economic development? Like, what does that kind of look like?
I think I would agree with what Bennett said, that it does, it's economic development is such a
It's pretty
broad
broad, yeah.
umbrella of the types of work that
Mhm.
you could do.
Yeah.
And events absolutely fall under that umbrella, but there's also
And hope
so
the
many.
bringing in money.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that is a great, kind of generator of, draw for tourists potentially,
Yeah.
like, it fits into, kind of overlaps with that, like tourism, tourism need, as well as just like the sort of placemaking the placemaking that happens when you have a like local event that is kind of, unique to a specific community. So yeah, that definitely falls under it, but there is, a range of
Yeah.
plenty of other things that could be worked on.
Mhm.
So I definitely don't think that I would not recommend excluding events from the charge of this commission if it does expand into like a
Yeah.
citywide active commission.
I think that, that what it might look like if we were, so the Main Street program has 4 pillars that are very distinct. And in order to actually meet the requirements of the Main Street program, we need to address each one of those pillars.
Mhm.
We could meet with the city council and they could say, you know what, we're not really considered or all that concerned about pillar number 4 over here that Main Street had. We would like our pillars to look more like events, publicity, business strengthening, and tourism. Maybe that is what we walk away with in the first year. And then our plan would go through and say, okay, what do we want to do on events? And we already know. What do we want to do on publicity? And, that in our current plan, that would be like the door hangers and
Mhm.
advertising or whatnot. And third part of it on tourism is what initiatives do we want to execute on to promote tourism? So that would be the biggest change that I see is that we would not be held to those 4 pillars in the Main Street program. And additionally, we would be looking at all of Estacada instead of just the downtown core.
Yeah. I agree with what Bennett says.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
all we're doing today is saying,
You
is
wanna
the
make a-
question to you guys is, shall we go ahead and request that we organize a workshop
Mhm.
sooner than later with the city council to discuss this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Now that the updates came and went, I think it's time to do it. So Taylor, is that up to you guys to plan that
I
or
can
get dates together?
I can
Forget.
ask, yeah, I'll pass along that request.
Okay.
I will, we'll figure out how we want to do that scheduling. If there's a specific date or a couple dates in mind or a range of, like a month that you want us to aim for, that is
Mhm.
helpful to know. I can't guarantee anything.
Sure.
Otherwise, we'll just look at the calendar
Mm-hmm.
and think about, maybe we'll send out like a doodle poll or something and try to
Okay.
get a date that works best for the most people.
I'd like to see it in the next couple of months, July or August.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at too. So we can have a decision by September.
Maybe
Mhm,
maybe on
Hopefully.
the off Mondays where we don't have a meeting.
mhm.
Okay.
And I certainly don't need to be part of this discussion, but I believe that I will only be available through the first part of July.
Okay.
And if I end up not being available, I can just kind of outline some things that you might want to discuss in that meeting, so. And
Okay.
send them to you.
Thank
I
you.
think it's critical that you be involved some way.
Yeah, it may not be able to happen, but if you can somehow or another schedule it between. I think I'm gonna be back there next week, by next week to about July 10th, then I can help with that.
It's funny because the date that I was looking at on the calendar was July 10th.
Really?
Mhm. Yeah.
That is a Monday.
It is Monday.
Oh,
It would-
perfect.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be. Oh, we do. Do we have a meeting on July 3rd? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Right. And then, okay.
Oh,
But
that
we
would
don't
be
know if you
that would
guys-
be a council meeting night.
Mhm.
Mm,
If you think an hour would be enough time, then we can usually put it as a workshop before their regular council meeting. If you think an hour would not be enough time, then we could either do that, try for that on the 10th, just have an hour and everyone recognizes that it'll need to be followed up with another discussion.
Okay.
Or
Let's see,
we can
let's
look
see
for.
what we can get done in an hour.
I think an hour is plenty of time. And do we have to have a quorum for that? Or is that just a whoever wants to
Just a
come?
workshop.
Okay,
So
or whoever can.
I don't know, do we?
I don't know enough.
Because we're not
But I
technically
think
voting
Well,
on
a quorum is
something.
4 of you,
Uh-huh.
so I mean, should be feasible to get 4 of you there.
Mhm. Yeah,
But you know, for me, just knowing how these things, you know, being part of the city council workshops before a council meeting, it seems really, there's a lot of pressure to get as much information as we can get in that hour. And I personally would much rather see this on a off day, not during a council meeting. So, taking away the, you know, the 10th and the 24th of July, that leaves the 3rd, the 17th and the 31st on Mondays. But again, you know, if schedules, you know, if it works out that another day of the week would be better. You know, I mean, the week of the 4th of July would be tough because a
Mhm.
lot of people are out of
Mhm.
town.
Yeah. I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I would like to see this not be a hour meeting before council. I would like to see this be a standalone workshop to where we're not cramped to get finished in an hour.
Okay.
Cause and I know there's a few other counselors that would feel the same way.
Mhm.
Cause again, there's a lot of information that we're gonna want.
Yeah.
And a lot of answers that you guys are gonna want.
Mhm.
You know, again, I would like to see this be a completely separate from a council meeting night,
Okay.
you know, or maybe get started 2 hours before the council meeting,
Mhm.
just to have, you know, make it a little less stressful, a little less pressure to get it done in that time frame.
Mhm. Do you think 2 hours is doable to do that, or do you think that's too much for you
Typically,
guys?
typically less than 2 hours. We can get the information that we need typically in less than 2 hours. And I know that I personally will be, I've already bookmarked it, the Oregon Main Street program.
Mhm.
I will be reading a lot about it beforehand.
Yeah.
Hopefully the other counselors will,
Mhm.
you know, take that same approach. But I mean, typically less than 2 hours, we can get the information that we need, as long as people are doing their homework before
Yeah.
time, coming in with questions and
Mhm.
that are relevant, or maybe trying to get some of those questions out beforehand so
Yeah.
that staff or you guys can have those answers at the, you know, at the workshop. So
Okay. So do you think they would be willing to do 2 hours before a council meeting?
that is tough.
That's the
That-
main
that
question.
is tough,
'Cause that's a
'cause
long night.
yeah,
But
that-
that's up to you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause I think a little, yeah, an hour, I think we could do it in an hour, but I think a 2 hour buffer time would be
Yeah,
nice too.
again, like I said, I
But-
would prefer to see this on a night
Without
separate
it.
from a council meeting,
Okay,
so that there is no time constraint whatsoever.
sure.
I mean, that's just me personally, and I know a few of the other counselors would like to see that
Okay.
also. We don't mind the extra meeting. I mean, heck,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we had 3 meetings in a row,
Yeah,
you know,
It's just-
so.
that's just what you do. Okay, so can we maybe throw out? Maybe try that night, see what they think, but also if that doesn't work, then maybe try is our Mondays good?
Yeah, maybe do the doodle poll.
Is
thing
it
that you were talking about.
a poll, fine,
Yeah.
a 2 hour meeting prior and then, or else the 24th, the Monday?
24th of July.
Yeah,
Bennett, is July 10th good for you? Are you here or are you gone?
I'm here on July 10th and I'm here in June, starting around the 14th. So June, if you could move that quickly, June
Hmm.
19th would be really great.
oh, you're here starting June 14th, you said.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I wonder how many
Mm.
counselors would be available to attend this meeting
Mon-
time,
Mm,
Monday,
Yeah.
or
we're
any
gonna
other
talk
time
about-
during the day on the 19th.
Yeah, because our meeting is on July 3rd. The next
Yeah.
one is,
am-
and we might want to talk about changing that around. Because July 3rd is, I don't know, do people have plans? I don't.
yeah, I will not be here. but
Is City Hall open on the
Zoom,
3rd?
but I don't want.
I don't know. I'll ask.
I wonder what if, the moving our meeting to the 10th or no, we couldn't make our meeting and a workshop in the same thing. Or maybe make it back to back in the morning.
I think you
If
would,
we're gonna move our DEC meeting.
I
you
think
guys-
you would want to have your, I mean, unless you need a meeting to prepare for the workshop, I think that you would maybe want to have your meeting after the workshop.
Mm,
Just so you can discuss what was talked about at the workshop.
yeah. So do you guys want to discuss that right now real fast about changing our July 3rd meeting? Is that not good for most people?
And maybe July 10th, we have the workshop, and then after the workshop, then we have our meeting.
Mhm. Yeah, if they
July
can do it.
10th. Yeah, if they
Yeah,
can do it.
pending. Okay,
That sounds good to me.
okay.
I can't do either.
You can't do either. Okay. Julie, what are your thoughts?
The third would be difficult for me, but.
Yeah.
other than that, I would-
10th is a little bit better. Okay,
But I can make the third happen if I need
Sure.
to, so.
yeah.
And how about, because I'm gonna ask about all of these potential dates and times.
Okay.
If enough counselors are available on June 19th,
Mm,
would that date also work? Either the regular 9 AM or like some other time during the day on Monday, June 19th, 2 weeks
Is-
from now.
Juneteenth, not a holiday where City Hall
Oh,
closes down.
oh, gosh.
Sorry.
Okay. We are open on July 3rd.
June,
Okay, and we're probably closed on,
June
just
26th.
thinking. And June 26th is a council
Oh,
meeting day, so
okay.
we wouldn't want to ask them to come in
Twice.
both in the morning, but we could look at that. Just,
June
I
12th?
expect there's more on that agenda already because
Yeah.
it's closer.
A week from today?
I
June
mean,
12th?
And I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Monday,
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
true.
That's just when we
Mm.
know lots of people are available.
So what days are you gonna throw out there?
Well, I think Jerry's right. I think we're closed on the 19th. So, we,
This might just be one of those things where you need to look at the actual calendar and see what days are available and then throw out the poll.
yeah. Yeah, so just looking at my calendar right now, I will look at if there's a light enough agenda on June 26th,
Mhm.
I'll look at an hour or hour and a half workshop before that council meeting. We can look at the 3rd. City Hall is open on the 3rd. We can look at both 9 AM and like maybe an afternoon. Would an afternoon time on the 3rd work for some of you? Seeing some nods.
No, not for me.
And some no's. Okay, so morning would probably be
Morning is
preferred.
gonna be much better.
Okay. And then I will look at,
What about like the June 27th is a Tuesday? The day after their council meeting? Medium.
So
the,
in that case, would it, you know, during another day during the week, would an evening meeting be okay for some of you that are operating businesses during that,
Mm,
you know?
I close Monday, so
That's easier.
it's the only day I
Yeah.
can really. Any of you can.
Mornings are better for me. We get busy at night.
Mhm.
could the morning of Tuesday, the 27th.
Right.
Well, I guess
I
the
work
council,
I
yeah,
work Tuesday through Saturday, so.
Okay. So Mondays are good,
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, well,
Unless it's Mondays are good unless it's evening, but not evening for everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
we'll do this, we'll do a doodle poll. It's so much easier to just have
Yeah.
everyone click and we'll look
Okay.
at what works for the most people
Nice.
And this is for the workshop.
for the joint workshop.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then for our meeting in July, are we going to keep it the 3rd?
No, we should probably move it to the 10th.
You want to move it to the 10th because, and that's when the city council meeting is?
Well,
But it
that-
doesn't
your
matter.
Meeting doesn't.
Right,
have
I'm just
any-
trying to, we're talking about a lot of meetings. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember where we're at. Okay, so do we have to make a motion to change our meeting? Or do we just all agree that we will move it to the 10th?
You want to
For
move it
July?
to 9 a.m. on July 10th?
Mhm.
Does everyone just want to nod in agreement?
Yeah.
Or does that?
Bennett, she's nodding.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm seeing a
Okay.
unanimous nod. Thank you.
Okay. Just to get that finished. And then we'll do a doodle for the workshop.
Yes.
Is that what it's called? Doodle?
A doodle poll, yeah.
Okay, doodle
I'll
poll,
send out some
okay.
kind of poll where you can just select which dates and times work for you.
Okay. Cool. So,
And I will try to get that out. I'll try to talk to Melanie today and I will, she might need to talk to the mayor. So I expect to have that out in the next couple of days. I'm not
Okay.
sure if it'll be today.
okay. Cool. So our meeting's been changed and we'll vote on that and everybody do your research on the Main Street program. Would you mind, Taylor, when you send out the poll, maybe adding the link to a packet for the Main Street program in case nobody
Yep, can do.
can find it?
Yeah.
But I think there's a link on our website, but just so people can read about that. And, all right, I think we can move on from this and dates. Okay. Next is Excellence on Maine Awards. And these are, we did this last year. Connie won an award. Yay. Last year. And do you know the deadline, Connie? July?
July 14th, 11:59 PM.
Whoa. And this is, do you want to talk about this? It's just
Well,
we can nominate businesses,
yeah,
business owners.
there's 12 different categories.
Mhm.
And so if you go on, I think it was attached to the message that went out. July 14th is not that far away,
Yeah,
but there's 12 different categories. So I think we just need to kind of individually think about who we might want to
Mhm.
nominate
Yeah.
and bring it forward and take it from there. Taylor, is that? Yeah.
And it can be personal too, right?
Yeah.
Cause
There's-
like we can do this individually,
Well, then.
or does it
and then
have to go
agree.
through?
Do it individually, then to agree on what one we want to.
Well, does it
support.
have to go through the DEC? I
Or
don't
could
think
an
so.
individual person submit?
Like, I think I
Oh,
could have
okay.
just like done it
Okay.
on my own last year for,
Okay,
Julie
yeah,
on my own, I
Mhm.
believe.
okay, sounds.
I think it's up unless as a whole, we have like somebody that we want to nominate.
We can do it individually.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would think that
I
you
believe
should be
so.
able to do it individually,
Yeah.
but be worth checking.
From what I recall, it doesn't need like our approval or
It
anything.
doesn't say it has to be by,
Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
anybody,
yeah,
So if anybody has anybody in mind or.
I do, but
Okay.
I'm keeping it to myself.
Okay.
No, say it, please.
Now loudly. Okay.
So this is a word for refresh my mind, please.
For the awards,
Uh-huh.
do you want to read? Do you want to
Well,
read real fast the
Okay.
categories?
The
Or just-
categories are outstanding partnership. Recognizing Main Street program partners who have demonstrated the highest and best degree of cooperation to benefit downtown revitalization efforts. Leadership on Main Award. This recognizes an individual who has shown extraordinary dedication to their local Main Street. Standout volunteer. This non-competitive category is a way for Main Street to recognize outstanding volunteers. Executive Director of the Year, that's kind of self-explanatory, I think. Outstanding promotional event. Nominations should be made for creative and effective image campaigns, special events, or other promotional projects that market to and attract people to the downtown or neighborhood commercial district. Bricks and mortar rehabilitation. This award is designed to recognize building owners or programs that positively impact preservation efforts. Best new building project. Award is granted to individual, business, or organization that has constructed the best new building or buildings addition in a downtown area. Creative placemaking project. Placemaking capitalizes on a local community's assets, inspiration, and potential with the intention of creating public spaces that promote people's health, happiness, and well-being. Business of the year, recognize the innovation, dedication, and entrepreneurial spirit displayed by our entrepreneurials and small businesses. Economic vitality, award is designed to recognize economic enhancement efforts within the downtown district. Outstanding special project. Nominations should be made for those special projects that don't quite fit into the other categories. Open Door Award, nomination of projects or programs for this award should represent models of inclusive practices that build community through creation of small identity or affinity spaces. What the heck does that mean? So there's several choices.
Yeah, lots of, do you kind of understand what
Did
Yes.
you
you
get
can
the?
nominate
No,
people or businesses?
It was attached to the documents that Mara sent out.
Mhm. Do you think
I
you
can
can
send that
resend
back
that?
out again. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
just because we got a month in case you want to nominate anybody, and then the awards happen in October, I believe.
I'm still not getting that involved. there.
Winners will be announced October 4th,
Awarded in
Main
uh,
Street,
down
yeah.
south.
Yeah.
Where's that
Okay.
city?
wherever they're having the conference.
Okay, it's different every year.
You know, in Independence.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, so if you have anybody in mind, I know Connie won an award last year, so
yeah,
that was cool.
thank you.
I'd like to throw an idea out there for this, just
Yeah.
to put it on people's mind. For the new build one, nominate Heath Stalcup for what he did with the
Mm,
apartments and
the salon, level 11.
yeah,
Yeah,
that might be a good
yeah,
one to
because that
throw
was
out
this
there.
year, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Good idea. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff this year. All right, and that's a part of Main Street, huh?
Yep.
That whole, which is something we'll discuss.
Yep.
I guess when couple weeks. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more comments,
Do you guys want to update on the parade in Oktoberfest?
yeah,
Okay. Parade is going along quite well. We've already received several registrations. Got the ribbons ordered, toilets ordered. All that kind of good stuff. Can always still use volunteers. I'm reaching
Yeah.
out to Job Corps to help with the traffic management. So hopefully we'll get them back involved. For Oktoberfest, Juan and Julie and I have met. We've got pretty much a draft time frame schedule. We've got some food vendors lined up, music lined up, got the banners ordered, the street banner on the light posts, those are ordered. It's starting to come together.
yeah.
Yay.
The OLCC paperwork is turned in
Yay.
and just waiting to get back, and then we'll pay the whatever the price is for the special event packet, and we'll be good to go.
So excited.
Awesome.
And
And
I
did-
need to talk with you afterwards, please.
Did
Okay,
I overhear that the
Exciting.
Wednesday wine folks are also going to be participating in that? Or did I mishear that?
Yeah, they would like to be part of
Yeah.
Okay,
the
Cool.
beer garden with us.
Wednesday's wine bar. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be Wednesdays and then Stone Circle and then us.
okay. Is Stone Circle cider?
It is,
Cool.
yeah.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, well, the other one? Do they want to be involved or?
Oh, bench shovel?
Clackamas River.
Oh,
or
Clackamas River
Growlers.
Growlers?
Yeah.
I'm leaving everything up to
Okay, I'm
Lonzo on
assuming,
that
yeah,
stuff.
I'm just, there's only a
Yeah.
few beer places here, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming they've already been,
Yeah.
okay.
For the local business, there's gonna be charged to them for being there? How that gonna be work?
No, if they're a local business, we're gonna waive the vendor fee.
Okay,
Okay,
Oh, cool.
but anybody coming in from out of
okay.
town.
That's great.
Yeah, this is a first year event and we want to get off on the right foot. We're charging just $10 for admission to the beer garden.
Mm.
We're not going to charge admission to the overall event. That would just be
Right.
way too complicated to secure the area.
Yeah,
So
that's-
$10 to the beer garden, vendor fee is 20, for alcohol vendors 50. We've got bands lined up already. Hopefully we'll get some polka dancers up there and yodlers up there, so.
And do you guys have contracts for all this, just so people don't back out, or?
Well, that's what I'm working on with
Okay.
Elena. I've given her a vendor agreement.
Are we
form,
allowed to do
so
that?
I
Okay,
want to see what I need to do.
are you allowed to do like deposits? Like non-refundable
I don't know.
deposits, or is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just an idea.
So-
Make sure they show up.
I know that the city has liability insurance for the event minus alcohol part,
Mhm.
but you're gonna want to make sure that that part of it is taken care of for the alcohol part. So
It's a part of the special event packet that I turned in.
I know I'm just encouraging you to, I know that, but I'm encouraging you to contact your insurance company and make sure they're aware of it.
Thank you.
And then you would be carrying insurance for the entire alcohol portion. If you have other people serving their beverages themselves, then you're gonna want to look into that.
Thank you, Bennett. I'll do that.
Awesome. All right. Bennett, do you want to do number 11? Did you have did you have comments about
Yes.
this meeting
So-
attendance?
I went to
wanna do
the
this?
city council. I told them that I really think that that we're all of the commissions are pretty lax about the attendance requirements, because the attendance requirements are actually pretty strict and for these commissions. And so we don't really pay attention to them. And I know that now that we have people coming all the time, it's great because we have, people keep up on decisions that we've been making and are part of that whole process. I'm hoping that we can continue to have attendance be a focal requirement of being part of this commission. But I also would like to report our attendance to the city council so that they're aware of it. And I'm hoping that the city council will require that of all other groups. Does anybody have any objection to that?
Like a monthly
Yeah, just who should be for the
update
meeting. Yeah,
to them?
yeah. It doesn't have to be as part of the council meeting. It just needs to be something that they're
Just
made.
like an
aware of.
email or something?
Yeah. It would be something that staff would take over. So staff, can you take over that?
That sounds easy enough. If I remember correctly, the code says something like more than 2
Mhm.
unexcused absences in a row, and maybe more than a certain number unexcused absences per year or something like that.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty tight. Whatever it is, it's pretty tight.
But
Yeah.
it
Two rings a bell.
begs the question, what does unexcused mean? And
I don't-
so
Taylor, I don't actually know if it says unexcused.
I might be confusing this with the planning commissions.
Mhm.
It definitely says it somewhere in there for
Mm.
some commission. But yeah,
Could you research
if
that
I
for
can
us
pull
and
it
get
up.
back to us and we can take this up next month?
sure.
That'd be great.
But I I mean, does anybody have any objection to that?
Hmm.
Just an update? I don't.
No.
And would it, I'm curious too, what you all feel about, like, if you know you're gonna miss a meeting, ideally, you would know that the month,
time.
at the prior meeting, and you could let everyone know. In my mind, I think that would hopefully count as an excused absence, because you're letting the group know. But it's a little tricky anytime later than that, because you shouldn't really be emailing the entire commission, right? So, yeah, I don't have a good solution for
Yeah,
that.
I think this conversation just came up after kind of not a rough, but just a rocky winter into the new year of just new applicants and just trying to find our way. So Taylor, you'll get back to us with what it says,
Yes,
unless
I
you
will.
see it right now, and then no, none of us have objections with an update, a monthly update to Council Bennett for attendance,
Great.
and we can review what it actually says. Because I know it says 2, but I don't know if unexcused, and I don't know what unexcused means.
As a council over the past few years, we've had a lot of discussion over this and, and how many times in a row can you be on Zoom rather than being in person and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's like I said, we've had a lot of discussions over it as a council, not about the commissions and committees, but about council itself. But current council, we don't seem to have a lot of attendance issues. So,
I did find the section, things got moved around in, looks like May of last year. In chapter 2.14, advisory boards generally, there's a section called removal. And item B says, a board member who is absent from 2 consecutive meetings without an excuse as approved by the board is presumed to be in non-performance of duty, and the city council shall declare the position vacant. So there is
a lot
a
of wiggle room.
question of what is an approved excuse.
Yeah.
So,
It gets
And-
down to the rest of us don't want to show up if we don't have a quorum.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
likewise.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for looking that up. Last one. Commission applications. Do we have one? And do we have one more spot? Bennett, I know you were going back and forth about what had happened, but do we have somebody to go over?
So I
Or
think
are
this
you
is
just trying to
actually,
discuss the issue that happened?
I think it's the issue that happened.
Okay,
And what Elena said to us is that it was some kind of technical issue. So we had passed a motion at the last meeting that staff would report back to us what happened that caused Sean, and I don't know his last name, to not be considered as an applicant. So he claims that he sent in his application for the commission, and I never got 100% straight answer as to whether or not staff received his application or didn't receive the application. And that's kind of what we wanted to know. But what Elena had said is that in the future, if somebody had sent in an application late or was not added to the commission, then staff would ask that person whether or not they're interested in the next opening. And then that person's application, but that's a process, has nothing really to do with technical issues. So I don't know, Taylor, if you know anything about this, but Was there a technical issue, or was it just that his application came in and nobody paid attention to it?
Yeah, my understanding is that the application came in, it does exist in the email history. It was not, there's no memory on Mara's part of receiving it, and in several searches through Outlook, it didn't show up. She contacted our technical support folks. They looked around for it and I think changed some settings in her Outlook. And then when she searched for it, it did show up, but that was obviously months later. So that's pretty understandably frustrating and concerning as to why we would not have received an email or seen an email, and why it wasn't showing up in a search. I don't really know what to do about that. I have had issues searching through, like I'll receive an email or I'll have memory of a specific email and I'll search in Outlook for a word that I know is in it. I'll search, I'll look at the week that I know it came in and I cannot find it. And then I'll search using a different word and it'll show up.
Yeah.
So I do believe that that is what happened, and I don't know why that's happening in Outlook, but we are now aware of that, and it seems like the search function in the desktop application Outlook works differently than the search function in when we open Outlook in a browser, or like
Yeah,
Office 365 in a
different.
browser.
App versus.
Yeah, and so what we're doing internally for now is just occasionally checking our emails in the browser version, just to make sure there's not unnoticed, unread emails in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my understanding. And if you've got additional suggestions of what to do about that, or what you'd like to do with receiving applications, we're open to any and all suggestions.
Could there be a separate email address that the committee applications go to? Committee application at cityofestacada.org, something like that?
Yeah, did we have it? I mean, they could just go, like, I think it would make sense for them to just go to the info, like, we don't get that many. They could just go to the standard info at City of Estacada.
And that's something that
Email
that all
address.
the staff has access to?
Not all the staff, but multiple staff, like it would not go unnoticed,
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't involved at this time, but did that email go only to Mara? Oh,
I
you
think
just told me
so, and I have since deleted it, and so I can't, because he forwarded it to me. And I think it went to her, but my concern is, it's a little bit frustrating, but really my bigger concern was that if we have a process, even if it's a practice that we put in place that isn't a written practice, but it's something that we typically do, then we need to be consistent with whatever it is, because otherwise people can question whether or not we're following our own procedures, and whether or not somebody was discriminated against, whether or not somebody's application was kicked to the curb because somebody had, all those kinds of things that are unlikely to come up but can come up. And when they do, then you can question whether or not some of the business that we have done, some of the decisions that we've made, whether or not they're valid decisions. If we put people on the board that through a process that wasn't complete and in alignment with the process that we had typically been using.
Agreed. I would also, this is also an internal thing that I'm just noting out loud, but I think we would be wise to put like a note on our committee recruitments saying, when you submit your application, if you don't receive confirmation that we have received it,
Yeah.
and added it to the applicant pool or whatever,
Right.
please reach back out and confirm that we've received
That'd
it.
be great.
We'll put
Yeah.
a note
I
on there.
like that too. Cause I know there's been issues with emails, but I think. we've got it
Didn't
figured
that
out.
happen with you too, Julie? Yeah. So it's a reoccurring thing that we're noticing.
All right. I think that if anybody has any more comments, then we're good. You want to come?
I want, sorry, I want to tell everyone, pass around, please. This is our plan, what we're gonna do for 4th of July. So it's what we're looking for support in the future, if the community can support us as well, because it's for the community as well too. So we throw this party every year now. We do that for the last 3 years. This is the third year we're gonna do it. It's a 4th of July celebration. We bring bouncing house, mechanical wall, vendors. We're looking for more vendors as well. We don't charge the vendors to be there, other than making sure it's gonna be there. And then we're gonna bring music. We bring DJ as well. And we pay for our package. So we throw this to the community and we highly try to encourage the city hall, even all the city hall can be involved in the future. So that way we can give it something more bigger to the community every year if it's possible.
Yeah.
So
This is after the. parade.
this is after the parade.
Yeah.
This is before, we're gonna be open before the parade, by the way, because there's a lot of people looking for breakfast, looking for something to drink, you know? And we invite more and more vendors as well. So last year we have Granny's Donuts, and this year is coming back again. Thanks God. And we have a music, they're gonna be the third Darlene's music, whatever, I don't know. And I don't know what kind of music is they're doing. But we're gonna be a lot of fun, and we invite all the community, all of you to be part of this. That way we can make it more bigger and bigger every year. So we so happy, I'm very happy for this.
Yeah, I think it was really awesome last year. You said you had.
Yeah,
good
we did
turnout.
super
Yeah.
good. I mean, we did, the first year was not that big, but that was big. Last year was big. And this year we don't expect the less either.
Yeah.
We have a animal zoo, little zoo. This year we don't have anybody coming with animals at all. But if somebody knows something, I mean, we don't charge anything for be there. So I hope you guys can support also that little part too as well.
Yeah.
Just, I want to communicate this to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Nope. Nope. All right. Well, it's 10:08 and meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
That's gonna be the shortest one that I've been to.
Meeting
Yeah.
started off. real quick.